Hello, I'm Rishoki Ejwe, and welcome to this series of Mindset Kabanga Educator videos for Grade 5 Technology. In this series, we are discussing how to implement a technology project in the classroom. Last week, we dealt with making and facilitating the practical making skills. We saw how busy a technology classroom can get and how well Tembeka coped. In this episode, we will deal with evaluation in the Chicken Homes project. We'll also be taking an in-depth look at how to assess learners' ability in technology. Today in studio with me is Tembeka Tipu, whom you will recognize as the teacher from the classroom insert. And from ProTech, again, we have Chris Mutupi and Peter Middleton. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks.
Here is the project cycle again. We have seen the children understanding the need and investigating the problem. Then we saw them designing and making. Now we are here at evaluating and communicating. Peter.
It is particularly important for us as technology teachers to be able to explain the difference between evaluating and assessment, evaluation and assessment, particularly because other learning areas seem to think this is nearly the same thing. For us, evaluating is a skill. It's something that the learners do. It's an assessment standard, and we need to ask the question, can the learners evaluate their products? Assessment is something different because we as teachers do that. And what we're doing is we're looking to see if the learners themselves, for example, can evaluate. That's what we do.
Watch the next scene and note the kinds of things learners are saying about their chicken homes.
I can see everyone have their beautiful models. I'm so proud of you. You've done well. Now we're going to move to the next step of technology, which is evaluating. Okay. But I want you to start evaluating Tando's project, the one that he made for Linda, on page 34. Let's all go to page 34 of our books, please. If you look at figure 1 there, figure 1 on page 34, that's the chicken home model that Tando and Tahira built for Linda. Okay. I want you to look at it carefully. You're going to discuss as a group. Look at that and look at all the areas, the outside yard, the inside shelter, and the nesting place. You look at it critically. You tell me the good and the bad. You evaluate what's good about it and what's bad about it. But you look at each area. You're going to start with the outside yard, what's good and what's bad about it. Then you go to the inside shelter, what's good and bad about it. Then you move to the nesting place. And you discuss. Look at, discuss the outside yard, and then you need to point the end that you need to point it and look at it and discuss. Okay. Point it out. Enough space to what else can you say about the yard and the fence? The yard and the fence. So still on the outside yard.
It doesn't fit. Yeah, it doesn't fit the chickens to cut in and to. Also, to open the roof. To open the roof, so that they can get out because the door is too small.
Time's up, guys. I'm going to need spokespeople from each group. Who's going to report for us about the outside yard in this group? Charlene. Okay, yes, Charlene.
The outside yard is bad because the jackals can jump in.
Okay, she says the fence is too low. Yes, good. Number 2.
And it's good because there's enough space for the chicken to access.
Enough space. Wonderful. Another point. Do you have something else for us?
And it's bad because the chicken can't eat and drink at the same time because there's only one bowl.
There's only one bowl. Good, so they cannot eat and drink at the same time. Wonderful. Well done. Tanya, tell us about the inside shelter.
The inside shelter is good because it can get in 5 chickens inside, and the roof is good because it's not low. It's a little bit up. And it's good because it's big enough.
Big enough. Wonderful. Good job. Annele, can you tell us about the nesting place?
The nesting place is bad because the chickens cannot go out so easy. They have to open the roof so that the chickens can get out.
Okay. Anything good about the nesting place?
It's good because the chickens can walk through the steps.
Yes.
To get down and up.
Okay. Is it big enough?
It's big for 2 chickens to stay in.
Very good, Annele. That was a great answer. You have all evaluated Thando and Tahira's project, the model that they made for Linda. That was the way to go about in evaluating, okay? You find the good and the bad. Remember, it's not a test, it's to see where to improve and where you have done well. Now you're going to do the same thing with your projects. You look at your outside yard, you look at your inside shelter, you look at your nesting place, and you evaluate your projects.
Gets inside. And the bad thing is that the fence, the jackals can get inside. By the nesting place.
I'm going to report back now, and I'm going to start with this group. Okay, can you all listen? Slizzy was going to report for us. Tell us about the project, looking at all the areas.
It's good because the triangles are balancing the poles.
The triangles or the poles are balanced. Good.
Yes. And
Okay, snakes can get in and take the eggs. Good.
The inside shelter is good because it's big.
It's big enough for how many chickens?
For 5 chickens.
5 chickens, yes. Okay. Wind can get in. He says there's a hole up there, so wind can get in. Good. So you need to improve on that. What else can you tell us?
The nesting place is good. There's a stair. The chicken can go in.
Yes.
And the first farming at Tatamakanda.
Okay, the windows. The farmer can take out the eggs. Wonderful. What else? Is it warm enough?
Yes, ma'am. It's warm. And there's a space for good chicken is around.
Wonderful. There's a space for chickens to move around. Okay. What about food and water?
There's a bowl for food. There's a chicken eating. And there's a bowl for water, but there's no water.
Wonderful. Let's give them a big clap. Do that. Do that. Do that. Do that. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next group now and see how they evaluated their projects, okay?
Tameka, is evaluation always an ending stage?
In a classroom, we tend to finish or end with evaluation, but it shouldn't be like that though. We need to remind the learners that we're doing it so that they can go back and make improvements on their products.
You were very positive with your assessment long before you even started looking at their project. Why do you think that is necessary?
I try so hard to guard against negativity when evaluating because it's easy to find a fault than to find good features.
Yes, it's very important that our learners feel proud of what they have done. They've spent a lot of effort and they need to have that feeling. And we as teachers have a responsibility to give them that space so that they can feel proud so that we can praise them.
But really, this is not the end of the evaluation stage of our project. Learners still have to communicate what they've done in their project, and it's very important that they actually do that.
Guys, we've done evaluation. Now we're going to do some portfolio work. Okay. So I want you to use your minds fresh from evaluation to do the evaluation page. If you can all look at page 35, there in figure 2, Tando has written the evaluation of his and Tahira's chicken home, the one that we evaluated first. So now I want you to evaluate your own project. Each group, you evaluate your own project. I'm going to give you the pages for the portfolio and you do the evaluation page for me. Evaluation page for doing this now. But your own project, okay? Not doing this for your own project. Technology amafama abeke inkukhu beziningi so endaweni eyi-one so ngifuna masenza le nidiscusse nibeke ama-point. Do you understand? Niphikise no mama silokusele kanje ukhulume nje yard the space nana but bheka i-technology yenza ukuthi manje yabo inkukhu zonke lezi zihlangene sendawo. I want you to continue with the portfolios as homework. If you look at page 35, I'm going to explain to you the pages that you'll be making at home. Okay. After evaluation is going to be communicating the idea you liked the best. You're going to look at your project and think, did you like the inside shelter best or the nesting place or the outside yard? Then you write about it and you tell us why you liked it the best, okay? Then you also draw it for us. If you can look at figure 3, you see that? That's what Tando has done. So you do this, the same thing, but about the idea that you like the best. The other page will be about communicating your project. How did you come up with it? How did you make it? There you write the material you used, what did you use the glue for, what did you use the cardboard for. You explain everything for us. If you go to page 36, this is what Tando came up with in figure 4. Do you see? He has explained how he made his nesting place. Then the last part, you're going to be designing, if you look at activity 4, the front cover of your portfolio. This module was about the chicken homes, isn't it? So your front cover must be about chickens. You do the nice lettering, you decorate it nicely. You must have your name, the project name, which is chicken homes. Then one sentence about what you're going to do, what we're doing about it. Then some pictures. Then you have done it. Decorate it very well and very nicely. You do that for homework.
So you ask the learners to carry on and do more portfolio pages of the other stages in the technology process.
Yes, and she also asks her students to take their portfolio pages and do them at home.
Yeah, the portfolio pages are the ideal task which learners can take home and do by themselves at home. It's very, very important that they actually do it at home because you'll find that in most cases, learners will have time to go through it at their own pace at home. But in my teaching, what I do is that I let them start with the portfolio pages at school in their groups so that they can communicate to each other, in their little groups, and then they can take the work home and complete it. They actually like it that way. But what I do as well is to make sure that each and every learner has got his own portfolio, so that the next day, each one of them brings, his own portfolio to me. Then I can have a look, at it.
Usually, I start with the portfolio at an early stage, where the learner make each page after we finish the session. But in this project, it was a bit complicated because in one group, 2 learners had to do one section of structures. That's why I had to let them continue. Then at the end, I let them do all the pages.
What will you be doing next? Is the project finished?
When the portfolio is finishing, the learners will be reviewing what they have learned in structures. So now I'll be focusing their attention on assessment because I'll be giving them the test on structures as well.
Would you say assessment in technology is much harder than it is in other subjects?
Yes, I would. Technology is more practical, you see. So my assessment is based more on observation. So then I have to use my assessment tables more than the other teachers from the traditional subjects would. But on the other hand, the learners have their portfolios where I can assess their investigating, designing, making and evaluating skills.
Yes, what I actually like a lot about technology is that it provides us with a lot of evidence that we can use to actually assess learners' achievement of learning outcomes.
And Peter, how would you assess technology knowledge?
The curriculum says in technology, there's a very clear statement that says while investigating, designing, making and evaluating. So we learn about structures while we're doing something else. We learn about processing while we're doing something else. So it's kind of coming underneath the skills. We do this so that we can assess know-how rather than know about. We're not really interested in facts in technology. It's whether the learners can actually apply knowledge. So apply knowledge of structures. We do things like we ask learners to explain. How did you make that fence pole stronger? How did you make it stand up? Now that links into structures. We're asking them to explain, we're asking them to feed it back. Now assessing when a lot of making is happening is not so easy because there's a lot of stuff happening and the teacher is very busy. So we need to have our assessment tables and we need to be very focused about what we're doing. But we can do that exact thing. Ask them questions, ask them to explain. So sometimes that's a bit hit and miss, and therefore it's always a very good idea, as we've just heard, to have some kind of review, some kind of test, some kind of reflection about what has been done. So we do this doing things, making things, involving structures, and at the end we analyze that, we unpack it, we make sure that the learners realize that they've learned something about structures, and we can assess that too.
My method is that after the technology project is finished, we identify and explain the key concepts that we use in the project. We explain this concept to the learners. Thereafter, we ask the learners to explain how they use this key concept in the project making.
And can this also be a test?
Yes, it is. But one should bear in mind, though, that it is not the knowledge test. It's a know-how. We want the learners to show us how they have used the skills in their project making.
Peter, want to add on that?
In technology, there are 19 assessment standards. This is a lot of work, and it's very hard to manage that assessment process. What we need to do is we need to break it down. So we divide it into tasks. We have investigating tasks, and then we can say, okay, let's assess 2 assessment standards on investigating. We have design tasks. Let's assess 1 or 2 then. We have making tasks, and we need to observe and assess some of them then. We saw the evaluating tasks, and we can actually assess them then. So we break it into 2, 3, 2, 3, and this adds up to filling the assessment standards that need to be done. A warning, you can't easily assess all of those 19 assessment standards that you need to do at the end of a project. It needs to be ongoing. You need to be doing it while the project is unfolding. You're doing this for 6 weeks. You need to be assessing routinely and regularly 2, 3 assessment standards every week.
One thing I've noticed, though, is that Thembeka has a very positive way that she talks to her children.
I think she's doing well in that respect. In most cases, we are not good at saying good things about what we do, but what needs to happen is that as a teacher, we need to assess learners on what they are good at. We have to catch them doing good work in other ways. It's very, very important to show that we appreciate what they're doing. In OBE, what we also do is to encourage them to do better, to become successful and to be good at what they're doing. And they really appreciate that. And that actually motivates them to work harder. Obviously, it's very easy to actually pinpoint at things that learners are doing wrongly. It's very easy to do that, but that's not the aim in technology. What we want to do is to, as I said earlier, watch them doing the good things in technology.
I think we need to take responsibility for this. It's an attitude that we teachers need to have. We need to be looking for the talent in our learners, wherever it appears, not simply where we hoped it would appear when we did the planning. My view is that we need to be praising and assessing learners positively because of what they give us, not because of what we expect them to give us.
Thank you very much. Where were you when I was in school? Thank you very much for joining me here in studio. Much appreciated. Yes, positive energy all round. In the final episode, we'll see how the teacher ends the project. She will do a final assessment using a test. But before she does that, she will set a task to let the learners show their awareness of the impact of technology. Well, you saw and heard what the teacher did. Remember what we said the learning outcomes were for this episode? Can you now explain the difference between evaluation and assessment? Can you give examples of learners evaluating their work from the lesson you saw? Until then, Rishaketshwe Mola. Goodbye.